Is this a communist line?
What is this, a
Oh,
collective?
I am just joining in from a bunker in Albania. We will be going live very soon.
I'm currently in the mountains of Mexico, helping to defend the lithium mines.
Mm-hmm.
Based.
Fighting the
I've been
I'm
good
floating
currently
in space since 1991. I'm still
oh, I'm
floating around
currently
Um,
with my dog Leica.
RIP a legend. RIP an absolute legend.
I'm currently raising up anarchist small.
I'm currently stationed in China, CPC headquarters specifically. I'm actually got a room right
BBCG.
next to President Xi. He writes me my check tomorrow.
Okay, cool.
Mm.
I'm
Excellent.
excited.
Hochi is
So how's it
flourishing.
going, gentlemen?
You know how it goes. Another hellish day in this capitalist wasteland.
I hear that.
Glad to see
You guys hear
you
about
still
those
sending
billionaires in the
paychecks.
submarine?
Yeah.
So let's start off with a hot take. Fuck those people.
It's very much not a
Listen,
tragedy. Like it's just I
To
don't
me, it
care.
seems like a pretty cold, deep take. Just like their dead bodies.
um,
Almost as deep as cold as the Marianas Trench or where the Titanic is.
well, they got what they wanted. Listen,
Well, I mean, what?
all I'm gonna say is that people have been seeing online, even some supposed leftists saying how we should feel bad. These situations that we're in today, and they are at such a different class level than us that they were prepared and did spend $250,000 to get into a tin can that any one of us would be like, that's super dangerous. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
doing it. They
Well,
just don't think like we do.
imagine all the people they exploited to get what they were at, and good riddance. Who gives a shit? I don't really care. I
You
mean,
don't get to that level without causing some undue suffering to millions.
mm-hmm.
I'm guaranteed they supported some policies that killed a bunch of people. I almost guarantee they have investments in some kind of firm, like a weapons manufacturing company that's causing ongoing conflicts around the world, and they're actively benefiting from it. And they use that money to skirt corners and make the shittiest submarine they could that everyone told them would not make it to the Titanic. And then guess what? It didn't.
It just didn't.
Well, at
I
least
saw,
they're down there forever, and they could enjoy it for as long
Yeah.
as they want.
I mean, the guy, I saw an article on, I think it was Wall Street or New York Times, one or the other, and it was basically saying, they were like, we're so sad, they all died. And this one guy wanted to protect the planet. Are you fucking serious? Be fucking for real right now.
He wanted to protect the planet. Well, a lot of people want to protect the fucking planet.
Yeah. If you want to protect the planet, fund the revolution, my friend.
Exactly.
There you go.
Put that money to good use.
Advocate for the end of capitalism, and then
Yeah.
we can save humanity and the planet simultaneously.
And that's the thing, like, all of us, we could just look around our neighborhood. What could you do with $250,000?
I'd probably,
Um,
I don't know, I'd probably, I would think. That's a
I
good
mean,
question.
in some places in the United States, that's enough to buy a house. But you could feed a lot of people. You could revitalize some kind of park, start some kind of youth program. Like $250,000 is, to me, as a poor economy, like an astronomical amount of money.
Yeah, that's a lot to me. I mean, like a water lens, it's not that much money, but to me, I mean, fuck, that's a lot of money. And to a lot of working class people, that's a lot of money because not a lot of working class people see that. And a lot of people who think that they make that in a year think that they're a part of like the ruling class. Um, I think they're just a lot of times they're just workers with Stockholm syndrome. And then some of them are part of the petit bourgeois though, and the bourgeoisie. But that's there's some that think they are, and they're just victims. they got a nice Audi, but you know they still get exploited, and you know.
Yeah, an Audi they got on credit, an Audi that they don't tangibly actually own. The banks that owns it. But that's the thing about this
Right,
society in
right.
particular. It sells people the illusion of wealth.
I think that is something that needs to be conveyed a bit better, especially to newer people coming into the movement, is that wealth itself does not necessarily determine your class or how much money you have. It's not like an arbitrary dollar amount that makes you part of the middle class or not. It's your relationship to the means of production.
Mm-hmm.
Because like you could technically be a worker and be very well off.
Right, that's right. Yeah, that, you know, you don't have to be poor and be a communist. I mean,
Yeah.
there's there are communists that are that have it better than others. To those communists also advocate for change and help people that you know help as much people as they could, if they can, or at least you know advocate for change and you know get involved in the community, join an organization, whatever it may be, you know. But you know, just like you know, Shay and Fidel, they honestly were rich. Fidel could have been a lawyer under Bautista's fascist regime, and
He tried.
and yeah, and Shay wanted to become a doctor, and then you know he saw all the bad shit going on like South America, and he was like, we got to do something about this.
Well, in the vein of Che, like in my field, for those who don't know, or don't follow me already, I'm a nurse. Um, a lot of nurses are well off. They earn a good wage and they live better than I would say the average American. But they get caught up in this, like we were saying, the illusion of wealth, that they don't understand that even though they're earning a higher salary, their relationship to the means of production hasn't changed. They don't actually own any capital or can in any realistic way, at least by capitalist means, to dictate how the country operates. And nursing is a physical job for the most part, or at least the higher paying jobs are. So if you get hurt, you're kind of shit out of luck.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's I think you know, when people talk about the labor aristocracy as a class, I don't think you would include nurses in there, but because they are among the most exploited among the proletariat, truly.
Mm,
Well,
But
right. I just meant more in the sense of nurses who may think that they are part of the boys' club.
My favorite class traders.
Besides us,
Ingalls,
Engels is one of my favorite class traders.
mm,
right? Because he was the son of a factory owner, wasn't he?
He was bourgeois.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
the OG class trader, really.
In a good way, you know.
He betrayed his class hard.
Exactly.
There's some people like Richard Wolff, for example. He's he's not a capitalist, but he's really like you know he lives really well, and he doesn't he doesn't actually advocate for revolution. Did you guys hear about that?
Richard Wolff?
Yeah,
Yeah,
like have you guys heard about Richard Wolff's like? Cause so he's like he's a Marxian, like you know he's a socialist communist, whatever. But
Yeah.
like someone told me, correct me if I'm wrong though, okay? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Mhm.
Somebody told me that he doesn't advocate for revolution. He thinks that going by reform. So he's actually not a Marxist Leninist. He's like a SOCDEM,
I don't
like a
think I've actually
Democrat.
heard of this.
Here's how I would categorize Wolf, because he is exactly the labor aristocracy, right? He's part of the intelligentsia, and
Mm,
his career depends on him specifically explaining Marxism, the ideologies, the economics of it. And I mean, if Dr. Wolf were sitting in New York for the last 40 years advocating for revolutionary overthrow, he wouldn't have been sitting in New York for 40 years. He would have been
mm,
completely blackballed from academia. I mean, and he pretty much is anyway. I mean, he only came to prominence within the last decade of the American somewhat mainstream with the rise of independent media in the last decade. But I would not call him a sock demo or a reformist. No, he does understand that, because I've heard him talk about. He spoke directly with Comrade Hakeem once on a video a few years ago, and you listen to Dr. Wolf, and he advocates for worker ownership and co-ops and et cetera, et cetera. And, he's clearly got the idea in his mind of using this and unionization as building dual power. So, yes, I think Richard Wolff is a classical Marxist, and understands that revolution is the only path that's going to get us there. He just doesn't come out and say, "Hey, by the way, you need to arm yourselves."
He's being careful with his words, so he doesn't
Exactly
the position that he's
So
he's
basically,
in a position where he can reach a lot of people,
right,
and speak fairly openly. But just like in academia during the time of the Soviet Union being around, you could be had to actively denounce the Soviet Union. You couldn't come out and say Soviet Union is awesome, that's how we need to do it. Which then leads to like a lot of papers and socialists writing papers advocating for socialism, but actively discrediting existing socialist experiments. Because if they did, they wouldn't be in the positions they were, and I can understand how they would see that as not being able to reach as many people. Although I will say nowadays that's changed. That I would say that's changed a bit because of the internet and the landscape of the internet.
yes,
right, we have to be clear that everything is being done in Minecraft.
Yeah, of course.
So he could secretly be like a Stalinist tanky for all we know.
Yeah, in private, he might absolutely love.
I mean, he speaks very, very highly of the Soviet Union in general. In general, he appreciates the. I mean, he is a proper Marxist. He has a dialectical and historical materialist view of every socialist experiment. If you listen to a lot of Wolf that isn't just introductory stuff, then the guy clearly is on the right side of the argument.
Okay, well now that you put it that way, I think I understand now. Because that makes sense. Because if you don't want to be CIA'd or like FBI'd or whatever, then you got to be really careful
there's a strategy you got to use. I
Right.
would say in order to do things, and your strategy will depend on safety. It will depend on support from the masses overall. Like if it's just you speaking into the
Right.
like,
Exactly. As Comrade Lenin said, we have to exhaust all means legal and Minecraft.
yeah. He specifically said Minecraft. If you go to Marxist.org and look up Lenin, you'll see numerous references to Minecraft.
Yes.
He was a real prophet, that one.
Right. So when he was talking about putting all the pigs in the basin and you use the flint lock or whatever to light a fire, he meant very specifically only in Minecraft.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. Yes. If we jump into Minecraft too quickly without the proper support and base, you wind up with you wind up Luxembourg.
Yeah, and you got to do occasional updates to Minecraft so that you can have the latest
patch.
The latest patch, you got to do some.
Well, when you do the upgrade and do the patch, there would be a lot of people that would call you revisionists, right?
Yeah, there's always the that are just like, you're doing it wrong. We need to go back to the old way.
We have to go back to 1.8.
We got to go back to 1.8. But over time, depending on what the people want, if they support it in mass, then that's just going to be what it is. And if it turns out not to work and the masses do want to go back to the original way, then they go back to the original way and start over.
See, so basically it's like when you go onto Minecraft right now, there's like the front page is like basically just microtransactions. So people would basically say that China is Minecraft 5 point whatever, as opposed to, 0.1, or as some people believe it should be at.
Yeah.
However, what I would have you even made your own Minecraft?
Oh. There we go. Now we're getting into it.
If we are here in the United States in separate regions. I mean, no,
We
we're
have a different
installing
server
that, and we're in
going
space
on here.
here and in Minecraft. But if you're in a nation as large as the heart of the empire, when you are constructing socialism, you are basing it all on the conditions of those individual communities, and those communities eventually, for lack of a better vocabulary at the second, link up, form even bigger and bigger, sections and districts and committees. How silly is it for internet leftists in Minecraft to criticize other countries with so much vitriol and hatred when they haven't even done it themselves?
I mean, like, you look at, like, we got our server, and we have a bunch of servers within our server, and we got people within those servers commenting on completely different games that are going on elsewhere, completely different, unique servers. And until we get our servers online in the appropriate way, we can't really comment on what the other servers are doing, what the other games are up to.
Right. It's up for those servers to decide what's right for them and their material conditions. And it's not for white leftists in the West to decide for them. That makes sense. In Minecraft, of course. For
Yeah.
Minecraft.
Emphasis on the white. Just throwing it out there.
I wonder
Alright,
what Cutie thinks.
He's indisposed, isn't he?
Cutie in space.
Oh, he's been stuck in space since the doggo went up.
Since
R.I.P.
We're quick. We got to cover up his return. All right. So, what do you guys think of our dear old, let's say, friend, Mr. Cornel West's bid for the whatever year election?
I think it's funny how he switched from the People's Party, which is a party of super populist party, and a party that's mixed of like Republicans, old Republicans, and just like liberals and libertarians, and it's just a mix of a bunch of people. And I don't know. I think it was silly. And then he switched to the Green Party, right? Didn't he just recently switch?
Yes, he did.
He went to the Green.
Okay, so I don't know much about the Green Party, honestly. I know that the People's Party is a populist party, but honestly, that's about it. I know that they're kind of corrupt and that their founder was like involved in like a few SA allegations a while back, and yeah, I don't know. And that Cornel West, he like was dodging the question. I think they were talking to him about it on Democracy Now! And or somewhere, and he mentioned that like what happened with them doesn't represent with like what he's doing, and then eventually just switches parties.
Yeah, well,
Which is like
he bailed. I think the thing about Cornel West is, on one hand, I love him, and I've long been a fan of his. But I think he is a little naive, and I don't think he knew what he was doing in his party, and the people around him figured out what the fuck was going on with that party. He bailed pretty quick, and rightfully so. The People's Party is the height of cringe. It's terrible.
The height of cringe.
It really
I think
is.
what personally bothers me, and I don't know, maybe I'm bugging, but let me know what you guys think, is his statement he made where he said that he wants to be the head of the empire so he could dismantle it.
Yes.
Now, before people get up in a tizzy and threaten us and say we never read theory, I understand that Lenin said that we need to utilize bourgeois elections strategically, but my counter to that is he was also talking about when Russia first got the Duma, and communists were actually operating openly in the Duma. We don't have that here. So the idea in Minecraft that we could use a bourgeois election to win and I'm talking about winning, to me seems very naive. I think, we definitely would have to be strategic and, utilize, if he does get traction, to teach more people about socialism and communism and particularly Marxist-Leninism. But I think this idea that he's going to become head of the empire to dismantle it just seems to me super idealist.
Yeah, definitely. And he also considered himself a non-Marxian socialist. So that's probably one reason why he wasn't going that route. He was just more focused on him being the superhero of the world and, was kind of like wasn't really like advocating for the working class or the people. He was telling us what we like to hear. But I think that like he might have lived up to what his promises, but like I don't think the empire gone that far, to be honest. They would have. I think they would have if he would have gone in, because I don't think he's gonna get as much votes as a lot of people think he is. At least like other creators on these apps. But I think maybe if he did get to that level, the Empire will stop it, and they would possibly assassinate him. And I wouldn't be surprised if they did, because they've done that before, and they're known for that.
Yeah,
Right.
I think he would
let him be the head of it if he intends to destroy it. Like that's just they're not going to let that happen.
Right. They would. I mean, he's going to face opposition. I unfortunately, I'm for this whole project of his to get an actual real socialist message out there, which is further even than Bernie. But ultimately, I do see that he's going to get very little support overall, probably 5% of the vote, and he will probably just wind up endorsing the Democratic candidate. I see that happening. I hope he doesn't, but that's what I see happening, because ultimately he's going to run into more opposition than even Bernie felt. And yeah, up to, if that movement electorally really did get traction, yeah, they would go up to making poor Cornel into another Allende. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think it's important to note that if he does like really gain prominence within the electoral field, the other parties will unite together to stop him if they feel he's that.
Right. Fun It reminds me of Japan, because Japan actually did that. Back then, the Communist Party was getting like mass traction. So two parties that absolutely hated each other created their own party and joined forces, and I know another third party was absorbed, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I know that there was two for sure, and they ended up winning. And then nowadays they've suppressed the Communist Party in Japan so much that like it's the numbers. I mean, actually, they actually have the most members, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, out of
That's
a
actually
non-ruling party, they have the most members in the world.
based.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like that they would definitely do that. I could see the Democrats and Republicans joining together and fighting against socialism or something. But that's like an alternative video type of thing.
More likely, they're going to turn media attention into full-blown attacks.
Right, exactly.
On West.
Exactly.
To make sure that no one
Absolutely
gets support. And they won't allow him on the debates. They probably won't allow him on the debate stage.
No, they will not.
Never.
Media coverage will be extremely light, and when it is there, it's going to be extremely negative. And most people are going to probably fall for the age-old, oh, well, if you vote for him, it's going to be a vote for Trump or DeSantis or whoever it is.
Right.
You're taking votes away from Biden, because that's
right.
And
I think it goes both ways. Like, he will be like introducing a lot of people to socialism, but he'll also be the other parties will be making sure that it's basically going to be a Red Scare 2.0 if there's not already one.
I would say there is one already.
Yeah, I think there is one.
It's already happening.
It never stopped.
Right. And I don't think it's
right. Actually, it never stopped.
don't think it's. I think I should clarify my position. You know, if it comes down to it, you know, I would support him over Biden or Trump or DeSantis or any of these corporate politicians.
Oh yeah,
However, again, recognizing the realism of what this country in Minecraft would do to someone like West if they were to gain that much traction,
Mhm.
I think it's just being realistic. I don't think it's being like doomerism or nihilism. I think again we just have to be strategic and recognize that he will not win. But what can we do while he's running this
yeah.
campaign? What can we do within our own
Right.
organization,
Yeah.
within our own media, within our own videos to win more people to realizing that the science of Marxist Leninism is the only way forward.
Yeah. And one of the main things is
Great
like if
take.
you're gonna have successful strategy, you're gonna have to understand what your enemy is capable of and what they will likely do in a realistic way. You can't just think, oh well, he's gonna win and then the empire is gonna be dismantled and that's gonna be it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. And they won't. They're not going down without a fight, and it's not going to be pretty.
And I
But
know
it's going to happen. It's
the
inevitable.
FBI has been actively training to take care of any quote illegal governments that take hold. And what that means is incredibly vague. Like all it takes is them going, oh, this socialist Cornel West stole votes and stole the election. We got to take the country back.
Right,
Right.
which is why it's so important for us to build our basis of Marxist Leninism and understand the need in Minecraft for a new state and a vanguard. Because even in the case that a socialist won power, either through a very quick uh, coup or revolution or even bourgeois election, the counter revolution will be right on that doorstep, as history has only shown us that.
There will be whites,
To
you know.
attempt immediate civil war if they maintain power, it's not going to be an easy victory. And
Right.
I do feel like a lot of people seem to think it's going to be an easy victory.
Right. People think that like it's going to be like everybody just one day just snaps into this utopian communist fucking mindset and just fucking burns the street down like France, but even worse. And then we just have a communist utopia from like nowhere, which is super idealist. I mean, there's a science behind it, and you know, we got to just pave the way. And whether we live or not to see it, you know, I think we all agree it's going to happen. You know, late stage capitalism, this shit's failing. People are finally realizing this shit, and you know, like Ivan said, it's up to us to educate the masses on the science of Marxism, Leninism, and not just us, but also we should never get tired of educating. We should never get tired of teaching, and we should never get tired of talking with the working class because we need that now more than ever, you know.
And that's why we're doing Kollectiv, our new YouTube
Yes.
channel.
Look at that segue.
Yes. Perfect.
Yep.
Don't acknowledge it. It doesn't seem organic anymore.
That could be the intro. Say.
There you go. We did it, guys. We won. Back it up.
We will win.
Go off on.
Time to become a reactionary conservative.
Did you guys hear about so you guys let me know if you guys want to talk about this, but you guys want to talk about the ongoing
No.
war and
No. I'm playing.
Which one?
yeah, which one? Ukraine, the Ukraine-Nazi and Russian war.
Oh, you mean the NATO proxy war on Russia? Yeah.
Yes, that one. That one.
Nerd
Did you guys
BlackRock.
hear about all of the Ukrainian tanks that got wrecked in like a day? It was like 5 piled up. I forget which tanks they were, but there were tanks sent from
They
I
were
think
the
Germany
leopards.
and
They were the
America.
leopards from Germany. You would think by now that the Krauts would learn then to send
Isn't that a
to send
slur?
tanks against the mother Russia. So you know that's all I'll say.
They're literally failing an open book test. All right, listen. even if I don't support Putin as a capitalist, but even if you hate Russia, you hate Putin, you hate everything east You're pro U.S., go, pro stopping imperialism, even though, this is not what's happening. But you have to look at the amount of equipment, amount of tanks, missiles, non-combat equipment going over there and disappearing, and wondering if the United States can do all this. Why do we still have some of the worst infrastructure in the world?
Yeah.
Why do we have such a terrible healthcare system?
It's good for business, and the other ones aren't good for the stock.
What about freedom?
What about our education system?
The line goes up. Okay,
to the moon.
Yeah, you commies don't understand that we want the line to go up to Cutie so we can get them back down from space.
Will it trickle down? Will it trickle down eventually?
Eventually, it's going to trickle down. Trust me, bro.
Give me some money, Reagan, please. Yeah, dude. But for real, like, even if, if the lack of nuanced narrative was true, that Russia just woke up one day and decided to attack the country for shits and giggles, the amount of money the West is throwing into this conflict only shows that the money to take care of U.S. citizens, to upgrade our healthcare system, to upgrade our infrastructure, to do a jobs program, to update the housing in this country, the money's always been there. The bourgeois just refuse to spend it on us, and they do that for a reason. Again, it goes back to what we were saying. We're giving the illusion of wealth because you can walk into Walmart and just buy almost essentially anything you could think of. And if you don't have cash, you can use credit. It's okay. You're somehow doing better than most of the world when we realistically are just not.
I can look at 30 different brands of deodorant, and that's freedom.
Or like all the different cereal brands owned by just 3 different companies.
Yeah.
Christ.
But like, yeah, what that reminded me of also was like a lot of people think that the Yahtzee issue in Ukraine is just Russian propaganda and that it somehow never has been an issue when that's far from the case. The OUN and Stefan Bandera were around since 1932, and they openly collabed with Germany, and it's a long history, and it's a known history.
I think we're at the stage in acceptance where I've started to see some news networks acknowledge that there are Nazis.
Like the New York Times.
Yeah, like they're acknowledging that there are Nazis, and I think they're starting to acknowledge that there are a lot of Nazis within the ranks. But overall, it's still the Ukraine defending itself from Russia. Therefore, we still have to help them. Doesn't matter that they're Nazis.
Well,
did you guys see that?
I think what we're seeing there. Sorry, Conrad. I'll just finish up that point.
No, you good.
I think what we're seeing there is. I remember someone had mentioned. I forget who. Not in this live, but the
in Minecraft.
And the NPR, they had some corporate ghoul on saying that, well, we're getting to the point where Ukraine has about 6 months to prove that this investment was worth it, and I think we're seeing the acknowledgement of the Yahtzees in Ukraine as being a real thing, as them starting to back.
They're thinking about exit strategy.
Exactly,
because it's not panning out the way they wanted it to.
Yes, they're thinking about the exit strategy.
I imagine that they are far more threatened by the BRICS alliance and the currency changes and other countries starting to trade without the dollar.
Yes,
and sinking all their money into Ukraine is going to leave the United States in such a bad position.
Yes, absolutely.
Because like if we have to trade in our own money all of a sudden, and we can't just print out money as easily as we could before,
right?
Throwing it all into the Ukraine is just a real bad investment. Kind of like building a jerry-rigged submarine and taking it down to the Titanic.
Are you using a Logitech? They were using a Logitech.
They used a player to control.
And it took double batteries, the small ones.
It's like when you have a sibling and you give them the unplugged
You give them the
controller.
player 2 controller. That's what they do.
And he actually had an employee that he fired. He was telling everyone to like he was like don't go on that. It's not
Wait,
safe. We need more testing. And the guy's like the CEO guy who was making he's like you're fired, bro. Like I'm trying to scam these people. Shut up, please.
yeah. I
And
mean,
then
the
boom,
government
pay
tried to
for it with his life.
register and certify the craft, and they made it a point to say like, oh, we don't have any government involvement because they're just going to hold us back on our innovation. So like the government actually tried to do the right thing and be like, okay, let's make sure this thing won't kill you.
Right.
And they were just like, no government. And then when it got lost, the family was asking for the government to find them.
Well, of course.
And it's crazy how much money was spent trying to find these rich assholes. When what was it? Just 2 days ago, what was it? A boat just tipped over off the coast of Pakistan, and how many people died? Like 300. I could be wrong with the numbers, but
Oh, it was I forget about the numbers, but it was in the Mediterranean Sea, and it was it was
I thought it
Pakistan.
was like 750.
Yeah,
oh my god.
they lost a lot of people, and there was a couple mentions, and no rescue missions, nothing was deployed.
Yeah, I got it here. A boat carrying 750 migrants capsized in the Mediterranean.
Yes,
It's heartbreaking.
that one was true.
No search.
No search.
Stuff to tighten borders came up, and
Mhm.
then the billionaires go missing, doing something that literally like 36 experts told them not to do.
Exactly.
And then we do multi-million-dollar rescue effort when anyone could easily tell you as soon as they heard that the thing was not rated to go below 1,300 meters that they probably imploded. And guess what? That's what happened. They imploded.
Yeah. The I saw a press release just before we got on here that the Coast Guard and the Navy had both picked up the implosion on their radar or whatever, like two days ago. So 2 days ago, they knew these assholes blew up, and yet they were still investing all this fucking manpower and go searching for the Don Quixote fucking crew, Titanic. It's just maddening.
But that's the thing about this capitalist contradictions is capitalism has to justify itself. These people, this military apparatus, all these resources have to justify their wages. And they did that by basically spending the last, 5 days looking for people they already knew were dead.
Right.
That comment made me laugh. So they currently believe 500 migrants 500 people that were on the boat. They believe that they have perished.
Yeah.
So far, there are 104 survivors and 81 bodies.
Jesus.
I'm pretty sure all the other people are dead. That's what they're assuming. And there's conflicting accounts as to how it like capsized.
Mm-hmm.
Like some of the survivors, it says here that they said that a Greek Coast Guard boat was towing them, but the Greek officials say that they never were towing them. They were trying to get to Italy, and they refused assistance when we offered it. Like that's what the Greek government is saying.
How many people died?
They expect 500, more than 500.
God.
But they've only confirmed, like they've only found 81 bodies.
Yeah.
And that was on a boat in the Mediterranean Sea, you said?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sunken boat killing hundreds overshadowed it. Wow. And this all happens simultaneously, like as the submarine goes down in.
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
Too.
Yeah.
What a waste of fucking time.
Yeah, it looks like it came from Libya.
Damn. Well, that's a good segue. And why are people in Libya? I wonder.
Yeah, gee, I wonder why they need to leave Libya.
Thanks, Obama.
Like, goddamn. Like, it all
my homies hate Obama.
Yes.
But that's the thing, right? Like, not even just memeing, but like, thanks, Obama. Like, going back to the war in Europe, or NATO's war against Russia, People really do believe, and even some supposed leftists, especially liberals, believe that the United States is doing the right thing and their narrative is correct and it's the only narrative. But I implore you to tell me of a time when the United States entered a war and left a place. Talking about World War II, we dropped a sun on Japan, or we didn't need to, and Germany, West Germany, and France are still capitalist hellholes today. And they supported the Aussies after the war, or some during the war too, depending on the source.
Stalin should have kept going west.
General Patton said upon arriving in Berlin that the United States fought the wrong enemy.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
Like,
well,
they should have teamed up with Germany
pretty
to fight the
blatant
Soviets.
fascist, I think. That Patton was a piece of shit.
Yeah, MacArthur too.
Yes. Oh,
He
absolutely.
had similar sentiments.
Yes.
He has a museum in my city.
Mm.
There's a MacArthur museum in my city.
Cringe. So I'm thinking in terms of yes, we should have Harry Kissinger on here.
I need to buy like a bottle of whiskey so that when that man dies, I can just go fucking ham. Just drop everything I'm doing. Doesn't matter what I'm doing. I could be in a podcast. I was just like,
You know what?
Bro, he died on live.
Yeah, I haven't had a drop of alcohol in, I guess, since the end of February. But the day Kissinger dies, I will break out the good vodka and we will enjoy our.
It's gonna be pretty.
Hopefully you're down by me, and I'll share a bottle with you, comrade.
Absolutely.
It's gonna be hard for me. I'm almost 2 years without any. But if Kissinger fucking bites a bullet, yeah, you know. That is so
mocktails are quite good. They've gotten way better.
Yeah, I'm actually at the point where my liver condition is cleared up, so I could drink again. I just haven't.
Good for you, man.
Yeah,
Right.
I've seen more and
I'm
more
in the
like
same boat.
sober bars come up, at least in my area. I don't know how it is in the rest of the country, but it's just like they look exactly like bars. They function exactly like bars, but there's not a drop of alcohol in the place, and all the drinks are mixed to taste just like whatever you want.
Cue like the Soviet anti-drinking propaganda.
That's the busyness.
No, that'd be great. Like like that. What's the one where it's like hit?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm thinking.
Well, that's the thing, right? So that actually ties into a story I want to tell. But another segment of this capitalist hellscape that we live in, there's not a lot of third places for people to go. People go to work, to shitty jobs, and then they go to bed, they eat shitty food, drink or smoke or whatever. Usually drinking is what I'm primarily talking about. Feel like shit, and then they go back to work and they keep doing it until they die, and then whatever. That's just another worker bee. But earlier today, I was at a department store just fucking around trying to ventilate after my shift at work. It sucked. Being a nurse sucks sometimes. But anyway, so there were a couple of kids, gotta be teenagers, 16, 17, and they were walking around the store and they're just causing a scene. But they're not like being violent, they're just being loud, they're playing with sports balls. And this, a little security guy comes over and he can't be maybe 3, 4 years older than them. And they start arguing, and then they gotta kick the kids out, and then they call the cops, and it was a whole thing. And it's really sad because in this country we don't invest. The bourgeois, they're never going to invest in youth programs, for places for people to go, for children to go to. It costs money to get into sports that are more than just you playing with a ball that maybe you can't even fucking afford it at Target or Walmart. So what do? You just window shop and you get in trouble, and hopefully you don't graduate to doing hard drugs or drinking, and that seems to be consistently the problem that I'm experiencing in Minecraft.
Yeah, I got a nephew that's going down the very wrong path. and we're actively trying to get them back on track. But
I have a nephew going down
tough.
my path. I mean, like, he asked me for a few books. I
Oh, that's
I,
awesome.
l- I let him borrow my 500 years or I think is I forget I think it's called 100 Years of Anti-Fascism. It's a comic book. And then I
Okay.
also loaned him The Principles of Communism by Frederick Engels. And we were talking about the book the other day, and he was talking about how some of the words are confusing, and I told him it's like that, and eventually it gets better. And then we started talking about I started explaining the words to him and bourgeois, proletariat, and all these other things, and he's piqued his interest. He's even started looking into um what America has done in Latin America because that's really important to him too, because we have a lot of pride coming from down south, and and that's just how it is. We're just got it instilled into us since we were kids, and so he was just interested, and he's kind of going down that route. He's like they've done a lot of shit to South America, and I'm like, yeah, tell me more, and so it's always great to hear and have conversations with him. We always go to the gym together, and like we live together. We don't always talk about politics or history, but sometimes we do. And I think he's gonna ask me for a book soon, hopefully. And I'm not gonna push it on him too much. I'm gonna let him find his way. But
Right, right.
I told him if he ever has questions about like anything geopolitical or any like politics or history or anything, to run it by me before he runs it by his history teacher. And he's like, all right, I got you. And so
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm
I'll make
trying to
sure.
get. I've been getting more and more people interested in it. But I've discussed with you guys in the past, like my area is incredibly tough to do that in just because of the extremely heavy military presence that I
Yeah.
have here. Like there's a lot of conflicting propaganda that I gotta overcome.
Oh yeah.
This is a hub.
Oh yeah. Yeah. You're kind of in the belly of the belly of the beast. I think I've said
Like
that before.
so like you got the belly of the beast. I'm in like
Yeah.
You're in like one of like the veins of the belly.
I'm in the artery that controls the belly of the beast. So it's like a little difficult to get past it. But
Imagine if you start a Frizzo chapter out there or something, or like any other like organization chapter.
the
That
only
would
one
be
that's ever
hilarious.
existed out here that I've seen, we had an IMT chapter, which was
Hmm.
3 people,
I'm
um,
curious.
and we do have a Black Panther chapter
Oh, that's
Based.
that
based.
worked with the native
Right.
Chesapeake native group. Um, like I met the guy, part of the Black Panther Party. He said his name was Huey. He said he's actually the inspiration for Huey from Boondocks. That was his claim.
Okay. Interesting.
And I was like, okay. And he's like, yeah, I knew Tupac's family
Hmm?
and all that. And I was like, interesting.
That is
What are
Yeah,
you
Tupac
doing?
was a communist actually.
that's
He was
cool.
like,
Yes,
there's a video
yes,
of
he
him.
was.
He's like, what's that book I'm reading? That German
That
guy. He
Russian
calls him
guy.
German. Or that Russian guy, I meant. He's like that Russian guy. And then like his mom's like Stalin. He goes, yeah, Stalin,
Like,
Stalin.
Alan, I got that.
Yeah, I
I'm
was like,
pretty
that's
sure
That's
so
he
dope.
joined
Stalin
the
around.
like the Maryland Communist Party, and like after his death, then they named one of the like young communist leagues for it to like the Tupac Shakur
Ooh.
Club or
Damn,
something like that.
that's dope. What?
But Cruz, do you know what
Stalin.
what chapter specifically or what type of Black Panther Party they have down there?
No, I didn't get that information
Okay,
from him.
because I know
He might be.
there's like 100 where they all go by like slightly different names now.
Just right, yeah. Like there's a new Panther Party. Like there's something like that similar that happened with the Brown Berets. Like here down in Denver, or yeah, my city, Denver. Um, there's a Brown Beret chapter that's like I think like 10 members strong. I'm not gonna lie. Um, which is like fine though. But like I've talked with like the people who represent them, like or like a few people I guess, and like they're trying to sway away from militant. So like they still go to like protests and marches
Mhm.
um to marshal and to help with security. But you
It's
know,
like,
I was speaking with them. They're trying to go more towards community building and mutual aid. Um, so
yeah,
like you know,
looks like this one is
because they have a
called.
lot of members that join that they're like disappointed because there's not too much militant aspect to it anymore, and they're doing more
Yeah,
community building, mutual aid, and people lose interest, I guess, because they're expecting like this militant thing, which is like why like I think maybe not taking up that name and maybe just starting your own org would be better because I mean people are gonna be expecting things and you're gonna disappoint a lot of people and you know.
yeah. It looks like the one near me is it's specifically called the New Black Panther Party for Self Defense.
Oh, that's kind of cool. I see.
And they have
We have
for
I believe
a while.
the Black Panther Party in my city is called the New Black Panther, I believe.
Yeah,
I'll have to double check on that, but but yeah, it's it's pretty based.
Yeah, I think
Hopefully they
new Black
they were
Panther
pretty
Party
active.
seems to be the general rebranding. It's the same here in Albania.
Right. Looks like
Over in Stalingrad.
Mm-hmm.
they were pretty big around during like the height of the Black Lives Matter protests,
Yes.
and but I,
Mm.
other than a couple of signs I see up every now and again that just say "guns down" to stop the gun violence. We got a lot of gun violence in this area.
Yes.
That's kind of
Oh
about
yeah,
all I've really seen.
which is why we need community control of the police. CPAC, look that up if you're listening.
That's why
Exactly.
we need to put the pigs in the fire pit in Minecraft.
In Minecraft,
Exactly.
of course. I saw this funny GIF actually, where it's like a hopper, like pushing like just shoving pigs into a lava pit. Remember that, Cruz?
Okay, again, I didn't hear what you said.
It was it was a GIF where like a piston in Minecraft. It was actually a Minecraft GIF where like a piston was pushing like pigs
Oh,
into a lava pit.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
That's one of my favorite GIFs. I should have saved that because I'm pretty sure all I typed in was a.
Excuse me, I'm burping. Let's see. Well, what else? What else y'all want to talk about? What's going on?
So if anyone hasn't figured out, we're the red authoritarian fash.
For the Italian fashion?
You know, we're gonna, we're actually just state capitalism.
Yeah, we're a psyop.
100%. Putin bucks are rolling in. I saw.
I personally have my room quartered right next to President Xi. We work out often. Um, like I mentioned in the beginning
Getting swole with President
of
Xi.
the yeah, he's currently writing my check. I fly out back to America tomorrow to meet my
Yes.
comrades.
Hmm, I saw.
Did you guys hear about that? Okay, so I barely learned about this. All right, and I'm sorry, Ivan, just real quick. Um, like so. America has this thing when you become a citizen, they ask you a question what if you were a member of a communist party in the country you're from. And
Yep.
if you answer yes, they don't you're not allowed in America. You're like
Oh yeah, Lady Istahar was talking about that in one of.
yeah, something killed one of her videos. I praise her,
Mhm.
she's amazing. Um
I would love to have her as a guest here. That'd be crazy.
yeah,
She's
I would be
absolutely
amazing.
amazing.
But yeah, and like barely learned about that, and that's crazy. I mean, that's wild. And like I think China has talked about how that's not fair to a lot of Chinese people trying to immigrate to America because you know a lot of them were former members of the Communist Party or maybe still are. And you
Right.
know, that's not freedom, baby. Doesn't sound like freedom.
But you can buy so many sticks of deodorant at Walmart.
Yes.
That's freedom. I'm sorry. You're right.
The freedom to not
I
use
can
something
get
that
I
can't
can
have
get
it.
Fiji scent, vanilla,
Consumerism is
amber.
freedom.
Absolutely.
I can smell. I can smell like think of any scent you can think of.
Gunpowder.
I can smell like that because of
Get
capitalism, and that's why we
gasoline.
have to maintain the system.
I can debunk communism in one small example. We have
iPhone.
over Easter we had the and I believe I put a video up of it. We can you any of you find in communist China the red hot peeps? No, no.
Checkmate.
Oh,
Red
that's
hot flavor.
Fucking idiot.
disgusting.
I had no idea where you were gonna go with that.
Mm. No, not no. Capitalism
I'm
is
pretty sure
basically the
China has Gucci and KFC, so that's all I need.
yeah.
Funny, too, to be honest.
Okay.
They have a big old hammer and sickle over the
Beauty
Gucci
theater.
store logo.
When the Chinese decided to intentionally fly that spy balloon over us, I'm sorry, but the memes on TikTok of the Red Sun in the Sky song had me dead, bro, for weeks.
yeah.
That song
They were the
hits
best.
so hard.
I actually really enjoy that song. Like when it's not like
Yeah,
all memed out, I will like I'll unironically bump that. Like I will actually sit in my room and like clean it or something, and I'll be bumming some Red Star Miles in my heart. You know what I mean? Like I love that song.
My favorite,
no,
my
for
favorite use of
sure.
that song is when because I drive Uber, and occasionally in my area, people will be like landlords and stuff. They'll be in my Uber going to a ride,
Ooh.
and it's on my phone, and I'll throw my music on shuffle, and every now and again, I'll have a landlord in the car, and the red sun just starts playing, and I just kind of like look at their face to see if they know.
I feel like some of them are too ignorant. They'll be
They,
like,
be,
"Oh,
they
this is a
become
beautiful cultural song," you know.
I just see someone like start sweating in my back seat, like,
yeah, they become the Simpsons meme. Am I in danger?
Oh my goodness. I saw this meme like in my pastime, and I understand that some of my comrades and like told me I should get better at critiquing politics instead of critiquing people. However, this doesn't apply to liberals. So I saw a meme, and we'll pull it up or whatever. But the meme is okay. So you have Mustache Man, you have Stalin, you have Mao, and you have Trump, and they're all pointing their fingers up, and they all have a text box around them. I talked to you, Larry, about this, and they all are saying, "My opponent are the enemies of the people." And the bottom says, "Tyrants never change." And honestly, I don't fuck with that, and I had to go up because you cannot equate Stalin and Mao with Mustache Man and Trump
yeah,
because people like Trump, this is the problem with sort of the liberal ethos, is they believe a lot of people came into politics really in the 2016 election, and a lot of liberals
Mm.
think that Trump is the problem with the system as opposed to just being one of the louder symptoms of it. Like,
Exactly.
Trump's a piece of shit, don't get me wrong. But for every one loud, obnoxious Trump or Elon Musk, there are 20, 50 just as terrible people who are as wealthy, if not more wealthier than them, who don't fucking go on Twitter, right?
I mean, think about like our current situation. Like we voted in Biden, right? And but like, what does he change from what Trump has done? Like almost every Trump policy, so
And
he's considered better because he doesn't go on Twitter every 2 seconds saying dumb
Right.
shit.
right, but Hispanic people are still being put in detention centers and boarded.
Yeah,
So
Open class warfare has only intensified, and it will only intensify.
and it's under Biden
Right.
that like potential for war with Mexico is on the table.
Right.
and it's under Biden that the rail strikes were shut down, and it's under Biden that we've been funneling weapons and ammunition to neo-Nazis in Europe. It's under Biden that Hispanic people are still being put in detention centers. It's under Biden that tensions with the United States and China have gotten worse. So you can't fundamentally tell me that anything has changed, if not only for the worse. But going back to this meme real quick,
Oh yeah.
Stalin and Mao fought against the bourgeois class that Mustache Man and Trump were a part of, or are. Trump's still
Yeah.
alive. The only difference between Mustache Man and Trump is that the Mustache Man and their ideology, the fascism, comes from the inherent contradiction of capitalism. The capitalism cannot last. And when it goes into its full crisis mode, reactionaries will come out of the woodwork and use a false revolution rhetoric to motivate desperate and starving people to do X, Y, and Z, and everything will be better. We can just go back to the old way of life if we just got rid of the bad people. And they'll name whoever the bad people are. But as opposed to communists, Marxist Leninists, who recognize that it's the bourgeois who are putting us in this situation, these people, fascists and fascist sympathizers like Trump or Biden, they are so keen on removing the idea of class in society, not by fixing it, but by ever convincing you that it never existed in the first place.
Yep.
Yes. Exactly. Beautifully put.
Thanks, Don.
Always well put, brother.
Mm-hmm. Always.
So my point being, I know to a lot of people who are new to politics, sort of going on to the left side of things, they when they hear liberalism, they think that I'm one of the good guys, but
Yeah.
those politics still support the bourgeois. They still support capitalism.
One of the most interesting things about TikTok to me, especially, is just seeing people develop politically. Like I've seen someone, I think Muerte interacted with him recently, where it seems like he has gotten to like he's accepting that like Castro is not what he expected, but and is actually better. Everything was a lie, but he's still believing that everything about he's been told about Stalin is true.
Mm-hmm.
Like that.
Yeah.
Stalin's the big one to get over.
Like,
really,
yeah.
it's like the final, because there's so many lies. Because I mean, he was the figurehead of the most successful punch to the nose that has ever been given to the bourgeois system, and
the hardest to like make him look
yes,
bad.
exactly, and the lies surrounding, and of course, yes, the Stalin regime made many bad moves, made many wrong calls, but the amount of lies that have been told about him are just insane, and it's so overwhelming, the propaganda. And once you get over that one, and once you're able to
the DPRK is also a huge hurdle.
Yeah,
to get
and it was big for me because I used to, I'll kind of out myself here. On my journey to the left, I started out a bit, Trotskyist like, because I kind of accepted that rhetoric that Trotsky, real democracy, not the degenerated worker state. I know it's very, very cringe, but what are you going to do here in the imperial pool? Here in the imperial
You live and you learn.
I would say I also started along those lines. Like I had that stick up my butt about Stalin. I was like, okay, well, I know he's bad.
Right.
Okay, well, then I heard about Trotsky. Look into him. Okay, maybe Trotsky's okay. And then, like I said earlier, the only org that was in my area was the IMT. Again, even though it's only 3 people. But by the time I met the IMT, I had started like kind of getting over that hurdle of Joseph Stalin being like the worst person in the world.
Exactly. Yeah. It's a journey you have to take. And for me, my background as a history major was really key in me to getting over it, because I, just being a history major, you go to primary sources.
Yep.
And all the primary sources, and I can read Russian fairly well. I can't speak the language, but I can parse through it pretty well. And reading some primary sources and then going to people like Grover Fur or even Carr and so on, you start to realize that okay, this doesn't add up. This is nonsense, and the
I'm a big fan of Grover.
The sources for all of the bad things of Stalin are all fucking Henry Ford, Hearst, and Goebbels. Like, okay, clearly I was wrong here.
Yeah, like, and once you realize,
Yeah, I'm sure. Like,
wrong. I mean, it's like you kind of feel dumb for a little bit, but you
Yes.
get over that real quick. I think.
Yes,
Where it's
yes.
like, okay, I was fooled. It happens. Whatever.
Exactly.
for some reason, when I first. Go ahead.
No, go for it.
Okay. So like for me, like I guess I started off. I was just interested in like socialism, communism, because I've come across it on the internet and like heard about it, but like I never really had like an anti-Stalin face. I kind of like I can't went into this like with open arms and was trying to like gather my own opinions off of it, and like I just kind of read into a lot of things, and like I kind of like I honestly I didn't encounter any Trotsky or like any Trotskyists. Like actually, you know what? That's
Thank
a lie
God.
because I applied for PSL and like IMT, and IMT hit me back. Oh no, CPUSA or CPUS hit me up first actually because I applied for them, and then I don't know, I just didn't feel right, and then so I checked out PSL and it was all right, and then IMT hit me up, and I don't know, I just didn't really, I just didn't even check it out, and then then
They didn't sway
then
you
I
with
came
their
across Rizal.
newspapers?
No, I didn't come across no newspapers. I'm surprised they didn't. And then one of the big hurdles for me was actually China, to be honest, which is why I support them as much as I do now, because I used to be when I was a lib, I guess, when I used to be like a Bernie kind of like 2016, like Tiananmen Square and all that, which never happened. Um, but yeah, I think I've grown past that, and man, I think about like all the cringe arguments I probably had when I was a teenager or something with like,
Absolutely.
probably like, yeah,
Oh,
and so like,
I'm sure there's an archive somewhere of some shit I said that if I were to encounter me today, I would absolutely destroy myself.
For me,
I would
so
literally, I wouldn't even engage with my former self. I'd be like, shut the fuck up.
Yes.
right, exactly.
You don't know what you're talking about.
So for
I'm
me,
like, sit down.
I always had kind of a bias. I mean, bias towards socialism. So, um, both my parents are war refugees from Guatemala.
Okay.
Those who are not familiar, in the by the way, is my audio coming through okay?
Yeah, I hear you good.
Yep.
That's fine.
But anyway, so in 19, oh wow, look, I'm gonna lose my Guatemalan card. All right, in the 1950s, let's put it that way. There was a president-elect, Jacobo Arbenz, and he was not a communist, he was not a socialist, but he enacted land reforms in order to give the peasantry more land and take land away from what the company back then used to be called United Fruit. Now it's called Chiquita Banana, and also Go Banana. So when these reforms happened, um, Chiquita Banana basically went to Dwight Eisenhower and was like, yo, they're taking all our land. We need you to do something about it. So Eisenhower, he can go to hell. He approved what was called Operation PB Fortune, where they took a bunch of guns from the into a bunch of reactionaries in Guatemala and basically go nuts. And to make a long story short, I'm gonna make a separate video all about this. They that enacted a series of coups and counter revolutions because the peasants essentially realized that their government was just overthrown by the United States. So they reacted, counter coup. Then the United States comes in with force, with aerial bombardment, starts bombing the countryside. Actually, one of the funny enough, when the reactionary president, and I can't believe I'm forgetting his name, when he took office away from Arbenz, one of the reasons for the counter coup was a bunch of Guatemalan junior officers had discovered the airfield the CIA were building to invade Cuba. And they stormed the palace and were basically like, we're not going to be implicit in invading Cuba. Like, that has nothing to do with us. So get these fucking Americans out of here. Anyway, long story short, so basically conditions have always been bad in that country. It's always been overexploited by multinational corporations. So, like many Guatemalans in the United States, they one day have to decide that it's worth risking their life to come to this country. So when I was growing up here, I always recognized that I was different. I was first generation. I grew up in a white neighborhood, and it was put into me as a child, you are different. You are, dark. You look different. Always remember. And even today, it's been imprinted to me, even if I am a citizen, I have to always know where my papers are. Like, for me, it's huge. Like, I have to know, where's my license, where's my social, where's my birth certificate, where's my passport. Like, if I don't know where those things are, I mean, I think any reasonable person would have this reaction, but you'd be surprised. It really fucks with me. And, like, I have to know, because I understand as a Latino person that there are forces in this country who don't want me to be here.
And
So,
I go ahead. Sorry.
no, I was going to say, so basically, when I was in high school, I was a liberal. I supported Obama, I thought, we have to vote no matter, vote blue no matter who type crowd. And I always knew what socialism and communism was because of that whole rant I just did about Guatemala. But I never really understood what it was. When I was in college, I was posting memes and, being like, "Yeah, fuck the rich." But it really wasn't until about 3-4 years ago that I really started to have like some serious political education. And now that continues to today. So for me, my hurdle, I would say, would definitely be DPRK. I didn't really know anything about DPRK, and I used to
Jeans
say
are
really
illegal.
right. I used to say really cringe shit like, I'm a communist, but I don't want to be like the USSR or the DPRK.
I'm not
Like,
one of those.
You were one of them. I'm just kidding.
Super show, like one of them like Western chauvinist leftists, where they're like, "Listen, man, they
You could be
couldn't
better,
do
right?
it. Right. We will."
I'm actually,
Maybe. Like I have a lot of family members that I would say have had similar, because I'm half I'm a mixed guy, but I'm very white, so I never had to deal with any of that. I definitely
a white
experienced
man.
white privilege. What's that?
No, I just said a white man.
I'm white man,
Stupid place.
the land stealing son of a bitch.
Fucking California.
But like a lot of like my family members are more. They definitely look more Mexican, and they live in Texas, so they've definitely had those encounters where it's like wanting, like what you're describing with the papers and having to like just knowing where all their stuff is, even though I'm second generation at this point.
Right. Oh, and by the way, it was I know you my stupid history brain. It was Carlos Armas who was the guy that overthrew Arbenz.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. I don't know. Yeah.
And if you look at Carlos Armas, he has a literal fucking he looks like the mustache man.
Oh, yeah.
I'm about to
Oh,
pull up a picture,
100%.
so I've never seen him.
It's really
He's an
interesting
unfortunate
hearing.
looking person.
I'm not even making fun of you, but like it's really
Oh
interesting
my god,
hearing
he
like
really does.
I would say, an American, I'm sorry, an Albanian saying his name because in mine, I didn't know. What'd you call him?
Castillo Armas.
Carlos?
Carlos Castillo Armas.
Carlos. Yeah, I don't know. That's interesting.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
let me look this
No,
up
being serious.
actually.
Like, I don't know. Language is interesting.
Oh, what the heck? What the freak? He died.
I don't know. The space station has lost signal.
Well, we lost the space race, guys.
Damn it.
Pay
What just happened? What? What is happening?
The liberals are trying to silence us.
I think that's what's
Bro,
happening. I think
they're in our
I'd
fucking
be mad
walls
as
right now.
fuck, bro, if we lost.
They're in the
if we lost this audio.
goddamn walls.
they are onto us. We're over here just having a conversation. All of a sudden, everyone disappeared.
That's right. We could edit that out.
Jesus, it's the fuzz. Get out.
We don't have to edit it out that crazy. Just like make it like 2 seconds. Oh my god.
Like barely anything. If
I like
anything,
how
just
all,
leave
I
it
like
in.
how all the
And
comments
just be
were
like, oh shit.
Then
Anyway.
that was odd. What the heck?
We must have said the password. You know, Jeff Bezos shuttle, ocean.
Yep. We activated the sleeper engine.
You know what's
Oh,
crazy
man.
too? It's like TMI, but you guys know. But
The
people
call
don't
was
know.
coming from inside the house.
I have a very geriatric cat, and he has body functions. And right as he had a little accident over here, and you know, I explained it up, of course, the chat went out. So I was like, what the f- just happened?
Akira.
And he gets like these really like sneezing fits, and you know, I gotta wipe his face and whatever. So he started sneezing, and the thing turned off, and I was like, oh.
Yeah, I think what it was over here in the Albanian bunker, we had all of this praise and about the DPRK and all this revisionism. Comrade Hosh's spirit has been unsettled. That's what happened.
Mm,
I gotta tell you what happened to me when I
UFOs
went
and
to the
nukes.
airport. In relation to that, but no, I mean, maybe that was like the FBI like pushing the wrong button, and then they were like, "Oh shit!" Now they know that we know. But I mean, hello FBI. But
We're on to you.
the
We're
other
in your walls now.
Maybe we
The
can
other day-
convert the FBI guy watching us right now.
right, the other day, I was at the airport because I'm a champagne socialist, and they scanned my shit, you know. And I'm nobody, right? But like in my head, I'm like hyping myself up and being a cosplayer, and I'm like, what did he stop me? And then they did. They scanned my shit, and the guy like looked at me, looked at the computer, and for like 2 minutes we were just standing there, and like he keeps looking up at me, looking at the screen, and then he's like, okay, you can go. And it's like, bro, what did he see? Just in big red letters, communist.
Yeah. I've always wondered about my own situation in airports because I did have a legit run in with the feds when I was in high school because I was a young radical, and long story short, made a call to my poor mother when I was like 14 because I wrote inspired by an article I read on Bill Clinton destroying some hospitals in Sudan. I wrote a quite scathing appraisal of the Clinton administration, and as a 14-year-old, and my principal was ex-FBI, so he decided to call his
Oh shit!
Oh damn!
Wow.
he decided to make a call to the Secret Service. So yes, I have a legit docket on me, even though they said at 18 it was going to go away, but it's not gone away.
Right.
Oh,
I was
it's
going to ask you.
probably been highlighted even more now.
Oh yeah. I'm sure they have like at least
What they
1,000
meant
pages
was
on me.
What they meant was it'll go away at 18 if you have changed your mind.
Yes. They did. I mean, I was 14 and this is pre 9/11, and they still did a bang up scare job on me. Like I wouldn't fall for it today, but at 14 I was like, okay.
I was
Shit,
gonna say,
Brits.
I mean, it must have disappeared because from what I know about what you do in Albania, I'm like, wait a minute, they let you do that with this history?
Comrade Hosha is always with us. That's all I'll say.
They're trying to silence us.
Absolutely.
So I know we're just kind of throwing topics at the wall here, getting our feet wet. But what the fuck is up with these Magna communists, Haas infrared bullshit?
Fascists. They're just
Well, like,
It's tricking people.
it's like they're
It's all
funded
it
by
is.
the LaRouche. I don't know much
Yes.
about LaRouche, but I know that
They're
like,
funded by the Schiller Institute, absolutely, which is the LaRouche Foundation, etc. Yes, their funding is precisely to de-radicalize the working class and turn them reactionary. That's their stated purpose. That's what they do.
that's exactly what they do too. A lot of,
Yep.
sadly to say, but a lot of old comrades that like when I first got on the internet that I met have gone down that, like at least two have gone down that pipeline, and it's sad to
It's sad.
see. And yeah, and like I believe that like if you're easily swayed by that movement, you were always that reactionary deep within. You just needed a group of chronically online kids on Twitter to bring it out of you. And you know, it's worked for some people. I mean, I think it's pretty cringe. They're definitely, I think there's psyop to fuel the culture war between, like, they're like, so
MWM.
they're trying to like fuel a culture war between like quote unquote conservative communists and like the leftists, because they're like super anti-left, but they don't specifically say that they're right wing. But although they do praise a lot of right wing figures,
Yeah.
and
Yes, they're third positionist. Curious.
yeah,
What's
they're
that third position again? I think the thing is, and I think this has to do with a lot of white leftists, more white
Yes.
than leftists,
Yes.
is this idea of the nation. And a lot of people really do believe that even with the science of Marxist Leninism, that the United States of Minecraft, continue to exist in the format that it does. But no. I don't know what else to say. Like,
yeah, there's nothing else to say. That's a hard no, guys.
yeah, no, because you have so many people like myself. How can I pledge allegiance to an apparatus that has only put me in worse circumstance? And some dildo is going to be in the comments and be like, "Oh well, why don't you just go back to where you came from?" Why the fuck would I do that? We know that when the empire takes advantage of countries, the peasantry will go to the heart of the empire. That's been happening since Rome. That's been happening since before Rome. That's just imperialism 101. So you telling me just go back is stupid.
Since the beginning of empire, that's been happening. Whenever the first empire existed. What, like 12 years ago or something?
And then real quick on imperialism, I think a lot of people when they think of imperialism, they think of like Roman imperialism. No, imperialism now is the highest stage of capitalism. It's when they go to these other countries, infiltrate their quote unquote free markets, and basically just take advantage of all of them. And it's far more than just that, and it's just the highest stage of capitalism. Read Lenin, please.
Yeah.
Please.
Read.
If you actually sit down and read State and Revolution and Imperialism, the highest stage of capitalism, and you still can't get over the liberal hurdle, then we've got another prescription for you. You need to read more Stalin after that. But reading those two works, you're not going to come away with the same understanding of the world that you had prior to that. Absolutely not.
And I agree on the Stalin part. Like, I feel like a lot of people, would say that Stalin just followed the coattails of Lenin and never came up with any of his own theory. but that's wrong. His writing on the national question is a theory presented to us
Yeah.
that no other communist before ever never really talked about the
No,
nation
yeah.
and all that stuff.
I
And
mean,
so he had his own theory, and he was
He
really smart.
absolutely, that was why Lenin found him so valuable, because he had come up with the Bolsheviks at that time were kind of looking for oppressed nations within the Russian Empire, and they found this Georgian kid. Well, he wasn't quite a kid, but he was a young Georgian, and he had these great ideas. And of course, the national question was really what put Stalin on the map.
And he was a part of of an oppressed nation. Yeah, he was Georgian.
Absolutely, yep.
Everyone still calls him Russian, but
he was essentially the OG Marxist.
Low key.
Mhm.
Low key. I mean, he contributed so much to socialism. He single-handedly was he fought against imperialism. Um, basically him in the USSR did, and
and scared
we should
shit out of the rest of the world.
yes, and we should take notes from it. I mean, obviously we can't do what happened in the USSR, what happened, we can't implement that here, but we should also like acknowledge it, take notes from it, and also like possibly build on it, and always learn. And Stalin had made so many sacrifices. Although he wanted to step down multiple times, he he made a lot of sacrifices for the working class and socialism. And rest in peace, Comrade Stalin, always.
Absolutely. Rest in peace, Comrade Stalin.
Well, I think we pretty much solidified that we are the red faction of TikTok.
I think, yes, the Red Fast Tanky Kollectiv has been confirmed. Yes.
Beautiful.
Beats being a Volshai Bidenist, Kamalist.
Oh my goodness. Oh.
Beats being a fucking lib.
Beats.
Basically, that's exactly what it is.
What the fuck is Kosovo?
Bro, that was crazy. Oh my god. They just be
what are you
saying
guys'
like
thoughts?
crazy shit.
What are you guys' thoughts on Vosh? I mean, I'm sure I know for a fact we all 100% have opinion, but let's dunk on this guy. I mean, the recent debate he had with Midwestern Marx was honestly, I think, wasn't the best debate. But
it was mad cringe.
Yeah.
Yes. It was.
I didn't watch it.
And listen, I'm outing myself before I are we still here?
Yep.
Hello?
Yep.
Yeah.
I got a weird notification. Anyway, I'm outing myself here real quick. Like I really like Midwestern Marx. I do. He was one of the first institutions I started following on TikTok. I've bought in some of their work, and I especially like the stuff that
Carlos.
Why the fuck I forget his name?
Yes.
Carlos, what he does. But ever since going back to Cornel West, I don't know. My whole vibe with that situation is just souring more and more. And even with that Voosh debate, like that was pretty cringe because he's a jerk. We know this. We know that he's not legitimate. He's there to make money and to produce reactionaries. So even giving him the platform to debate and to have that powerful of an emotional reaction in this situation was a huge L.
Yes, and then to use that god awful debate to grandstand and just endlessly for like 2 weeks, like the Midwestern Marx content was a lot of grandstanding, and I just found that distasteful. It's like you're not Lenin dunking on Kautsky here. It was not the same situation.
Yeah,
definitely not.
That was a legendary dunk on
Yes.
What about Engels and Durin though? Like Engels anti-Durin?
Yeah, that was the template, and then Lenin took it and ran with it.
Yep. We've always been smart and witted and really opinionated, but I think that's a good thing.
Exactly. But yeah, back to Vaush. That guy is that is just a and I wouldn't be surprised. I've heard people say he's a Fed, but I'm absolutely positive the State Department has he's worked with them, because just the crazy pro NATO stuff that he talks about while claiming to be socialist, it would make Chomsky blush.
No,
Well,
like
did you?
literally one of the main things that he and his, Voshites talk about is like if the United Nations was like NATO, like if NATO just like accepted everybody and everybody
Right.
just like had that as their system. It's completely ridiculous because the whole point of NATO is to be in opposition to Russia,
Mhm.
and it's like it's transitioning to being in opposition to China now. So
Yes.
it's like a purely anti-socialist organization. So like, why would you want anybody who's a socialist to support that organization? I mean,
Mhm.
it doesn't make any
And one
fucking
could
History was
argue
sense.
never
that
serious to begin with.
they should have been disassembled, like as soon as the USSR was illegally um
Dissolved,
I
yeah.
forget the word, dissolved. But yeah, I think because their whole purpose was to fight against USSR and Russia.
Yeah.
And
They,
and then
they
they
were
just
just
after that they just continued their imperialism.
NATO was
Yeah, they
just
just looked for a new person to attack.
NATO. The original OG socialist anti-socialist alliance was the Axis powers, and it's
Mm.
Big facts.
no coincidence that the NATO allowed so many former Nazis to get high into its ranks, and you cannot reform those people. They
Mhm.
of course NATO became a new Axis, and that's how I view it. It's the new Axis power. Uh-oh.
No, I'm here.
Oh,
We were
I
just
got some
we were
sort
just
of static.
speechless.
I think when I
You
called
dropped
NATO
the
the
fucking
Axis,
mic, bro.
I think when I called NATO the new Axis, they bombed my bunker here in Albania.
Missile striked it.
Yeah.
And that, the person who like was a master or who perfected missile strikes was your one and only Obama.
Yeah.
He ran out. He ran out of them.
Yeah, that's how much he was
Crazy,
dropping them,
right? Because
bro.
like reactionary conservatives would always make jokes about how he would Paris and blow shit up. They weren't wrong, but they were wrong about the reason why they were right.
They always get there to the right point. They just their path they take is completely backwards as all things.
Yep.
Well, it's like they know what the problem is. They just point their finger at the wrong person.
And that's
Exactly.
what fascism relies on.
Exactly.
Mm.
In terms of like Voosh being like a legitimate Fed, I very much doubt it. But I think the internet. No, you know what? I'm not even going to say that. I think people in general are drawn to counterculture movements, and the minute anarchists, the minute they can get a little bit of either social capital or real capital or anything, people will jump, and they will just transition. I mean, Mussolini did that. Mussolini was a socialist, and as soon as he was offered a little bit of temptation, he was like, "Yeah, fuck it, fascism."
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Started teaching for war.
What's going on over there? Are the feds in?
The feds are here.
This is that was a fucking raid, or was SWAT team got
Let's
swatted.
not even joke about that, bro, because we do this shit for long enough.
Eventually.
Well, I mean, if Midwestern Marks or any one of them hasn't been raided, I don't think we'll be raided anytime soon. I mean, who knows? I mean,
No, they won't raid you. They'll come if some agent decides he wants to put a feather in his cap. They might gather. They did that to JT from the deprogram, where they came to his house and like.
It's hilarious.
Yeah.
well, I remember that video. I think I remember seeing him talk about
But his
that.
stuff is so
They're like, hey,
mild.
pal.
Yeah,
Why do you talk about the president like that?
He's relatively mild.
That's
yeah,
crazy.
it is crazy.
Well, I think JT is definitely a Marxist Leninist. He's just not, as open about it. I think he has a smart approach to it.
Aren't
It's
they all?
mild and
Yeah, they're all.
yeah, they all are.
Yeah.
Hakeem and so is
Yeah, no.
Hugo and
I'm
Yano.
I'm not sure if Ugopnik is. I think they're like a Marxist Leninist slash Titoist,
Yeah.
That's fair.
but I could be
That's
wrong
fair.
because I know that they do have a lot of like they are literally from like post Yugoslavia. So
Right.
They are. Yeah.
Yeah.
Going back to my origins, now you just said that, like, I'm dating myself, but when I was in elementary, in brown, catered white neighborhood, the other immigrant kids were from the former Yugoslav. And I just, damn, like I was living in history and didn't even know.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what in here in Midwestern Albania, also known as St. Louis, we had the largest influx of Bosnian immigrants, and I've grown to call many great comrades, friends from the former Yugoslavia, and they have all great nuanced takes on that era. Those that are politically aware of things. It's yes, it's
That would be great to like
fuck NATO. That's all I'll say.
it would be great to have like maybe like one day we could speak to those people, like have them talk or something. I don't know. I would love to hear some stories that they have because
Yeah,
I also have had
Well-
like maybe
I do want to share, like, because I had a different experience. Like, I had met some people in my area that were from the states that were former Yugoslavia. But because of, I guess it's because of NATO's presence here, like the ones that ended up here were very pro-NATO. So
Yes.
you bring up Yugoslavia or Tito or anything like that, and the people I've met around here are like extremely anti. Like, one person was like, "We don't talk about that period.
Right.
That was a dark period in our history.
Yeah.
Don't ever bring that up to me again."
It's
Okay.
it's
And
very
for the
it's
longest
very
time,
split.
that was I was just like, "Oh, I guess they all hate it." And it wasn't until TikTok and talking to like you guys and a few others where I was like, "Oh no, there's a lot of people from that era that did genuinely."
I love it and appreciate it.
Yes,
But because of where I am and I guess my personal conditions, for the longest time I didn't realize that.
That's like, Miami Gusanos.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah, they think everybody's like ignorant. They're like, well, we're actually Cuban, so we know more than you.
Yeah,
No, you
you're actually
don't.
fucking wrong and a reactionary, so.
that's like me saying I'm Mexican. I know everything about Mexico and everything going on there.
right.
That's like someone being like, I'm Russian and the Tsar was right and the Tsar was good or something. Like
Yeah.
that's that your opinion is irrelevant because it's not true,
The Spanish were right.
Yeah, right. Or like
Graton.
the Confederates, right, brothers.
Right.
Wait,
And
wait. Go ahead, Larry.
it goes back to the problem with people like and I think the socialist, the communist project has to be an internationalist project, but we have to be careful. And this is one of the big things Lenin talked about in one of his papers about when you don't understand, when you don't come from the country, that you absolutely should not criticize even their national bourgeoisie because you don't understand the conditions on the ground, you don't understand the culture, the history, you probably don't speak the language, and these things can be twisted by imperialist schemes, is what he called them. And he's absolutely right. I mean, it's a good thing to have opinions on internationalist projects and other countries and talk to international comrades, but be careful in your rhetoric when you're talking about places that you do not come from, because we see exactly right, with the NATO war in Ukraine right now, how they twist the proletariat into imperialist schemes.
Yeah. It's kind of like when any of us are talking about China, especially openly, like amongst ourselves, we can discuss China in a very critical and realistic way, but there is no benefit to like one of us going online and saying, oh, well, China's technically not really socialist and blah, 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 blah. It's like, that doesn't help anyone but those that want to attack China. Like, the media is already attacking China enough.
Exactly.
You don't need to pile on to that.
Right, and a lot of it is like, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I think a lot of that, comes from the lack of internet leftists doing any kind of political organization whatsoever. Because those of us who may or may not be in org, one of the number one things is that when your superior committee has made a decision, that's it. There's no point in consistently bringing it back up and going over things that have already been discussed and already been agreed upon, because that only affords the bourgeois agents to make more chaos.
Right. Exactly. And it's a Fed. I mean, not everybody that engages in this is a Fed. In fact, almost 99% of them are not Feds. But like Lenin said, it gets twisted into imperialist scheming. You're doing the Feds work for them. The empire work for them.
You don't have any business doing it.
You're not even getting paid, bro.
For real. At least I'm getting, at least I'm like, getting a check from She and stuff, man. Come on, step it up.
To kind of bring like a lighthearted cherry on top of this, I want your guys' opinion on this. I just saw on Facebook a picture, and I'll send it in the whatever so we can pull it up, of Hassan Piker and Ethan from H3 just like standing next to each other, and I feel like that's all you need to know about Hassan.
Yeah. Big guy.
Yeah. I find Hassan to be entertaining, but as I have very conflicted views with him overall.
I will watch clips of his stream, and
we hear
just a minor technical difficulty.
Hello, can you hear me?
Was paused.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, bro.
Yeah,
what
yeah.
happened?
I plugged my charger in, and my phone decided, "Fuck you," I guess.
Can you comment?
Pen Cutie's comment. How do I pen Cutie's comment?
I don't know.
Yeah, so it's the handle is at Kollectiv TV, and the channel name is just Kollectiv. So you could probably find it either way. The handle is probably the easiest way to find it.
It's not letting me pin it.
Kitty cat.
Doesn't give me the option to pin it.
That's okay. We'll move on. Yeah.
You can just periodically put it in the chat. So.
I was saying something. What was I saying?
Yeah. So let's just start again in 3, 2, 1 about Hassan. What were you saying?
I was saying overall I like Hassan. He's very entertaining. I enjoy his entertainment, but when I do see his clips, he'll say stuff every now and again, like say about the DPRK, or he'll talk about certain things, and I'm just like, okay, dude, I don't agree with you on that, like in the slightest.
Right.
I sent a picture for full effect.
Oh my god. And I do think he represents like one of those aspects of socialism, and like the greatest thing he has done, even though he's not going to like lead the movement, nor that he want to lead the movement, but he has done a great job at normalizing the idea of being socialist for millions of people. Like, he has a huge reach. I think he's at 10 million subscribers.
Yes.
Or something like that. Like, that's 10 million people And I'm sure not all of them are following him and subscribing to him because they're like, "Oh, communism's great."
Imagine if he just went full on like Marxist Leninist, like Stalinist. He's like Stalin did nothing wrong.
Yeah, like if he
And just
started
started
like, that's a
educating
huge
everybody.
reach that
Oh
he
my
has.
God, I would subscribe to Twitter.
Like he has such a reach and he has normalized it for millions of people. And I have met a bunch of people who are like, while they don't watch him anymore necessarily, they will say that he was the start for them.
Yeah.
So
Sure.
I think that he has a huge prominence within the movement, but he's definitely not like the stopping point. And I do genuinely find him entertaining. Like he'll watch dumb videos on YouTube or play a game.
Right.
Yeah, it's good for
He's not
background noise or
he's
something.
entertaining.
What?
He's like like even in the videos, he's not talking about socialism or communism or anything like that. He's just a genuinely entertaining guy.
And sometimes he has, and some of his political takes are like sometimes they're pretty valid, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like
Yeah, for sure.
he
Like
could definitely be more left, but
right.
I mean,
I
he's
think he's
entertaining. I could
actively
definitely see
described
that.
himself as a revisionist at one point.
Yeah. We're all revisionists in Hoja's eyes, so it's okay.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, everyone, you know,
I have a
in
map.
10 years,
I'm a
we'll
revisionist.
probably be revisionists, and then, you know, there'll be another set of ultras coming around and saying that they're revisionists, and so on and so forth. The cycle continues. You know, it's just up to us to keep the science of Marxism and Leninism going.
I have nice TV. I am revisionist.
In 10 years from now, when we listen to this episode, we'll be like, what the fuck were we talking about?
Fucking
I was like,
revisionist.
I'll be like, damn, buddy, fucking revisionist id. And id is like a word that I used to use when I was a kid for like idiot, right? Like if someone pissed me off, I'd call them an id. I don't know, we were weird, bro, but yeah. Fun fact about my childhood.
They're gonna get canceled. We're not being woke.
Id.
You're not woke enough for me.
You fucking id.
You fucking id. See, we used to always say that, bro. Like we used to always say it. And like some people won't get it, you know, be like, oh, this guy's acting like an id, bro. Oh my God. And like, I don't know, dude. Like we used to we used to be like trendsetters. Like we used to start all the lingo around there.
You noticed you did the Jojo Mart run on your Stardew Valley with your primary save, and that's just not woke enough for us.
Bro, what did you say? What the fuck did you say?
I was seeing if anyone would get that.
You have completely broke my boomer brain. I have no idea what's happening.
All right. There's a game called Stardew Valley, right?
Yes.
And you play like this guy that inherits a farm from his grandfather that died.
Okay.
But he's working for a company called Jojo Mart before that point, which is a stand-in for Amazon. And there's a Joja like warehouse and store in the town of Stardew Valley where you end up and play. Mm-hmm. And at one point, there's two paths you can take. You can either fix up the community center, or you can help Jojo Mart buy the community center and turn it into storage space.
Okay.
Wow.
I thought you were talking about JoJo Bizarre Adventures, to be honest.
Yeah, I did too. I was
there
like,
was a
JoJo
post a long
reference.
time ago that I had seen where it was someone making fun of leftists, and they were like, "We noticed that you did the Jojo Mart run and helped them with their warehouse on your primary save, and that's just not cool with the Kollectiv we've got going on here." So there's the explanation there for everyone that doesn't know what Stardew Valley is.
Got it.
Real
I'm a bit uncle, I guess.
It's a great game. You can play it on your
Is it?
and your phone. It's fantastic.
I bet it's bourgeois cringe, Cruz.
Revisionist ultra.
It is bordering on bourgeois decadence, I must say.
I'm definitely engaging in revisionist bourgeois decadence. Hedonism.
So basically, freaking Khrushchev.
I'm going full Brezhnev.
Oh no!
Don't talk about Khrushchev. Oh my God. You stop.
Have you guys ever seen A Death of Stalin? The guy, I forget his name.
Yeah,
God,
Yeah,
it-
we did
we did a
Evan's
video with that.
It's
podcast on
like
that.
it's something Belushi, Steve
yeah, I
Belushi or
was
something like that.
Steve Buscemi.
Buscemi. Steve
Buscemi. There we go.
yeah, Steve
I had the
Buscemi. He
vibe of his
played.
name.
Stephen Bussey.
Yeah, we did that video with Evan actually, all three of us, me, Cruz,
Yep.
and Larry.
Yeah.
Oh, that was
Yeah.
before I was cool with
And
all you
Jolly.
guys.
Yeah, you weren't cool enough yet.
You weren't.
Yeah,
You
and I
weren't.
saw all you guys doing that, and I was in my feelings.
You couldn't. You couldn't set the table with us. You weren't wearing pink.
You were not yet in the post revisionist clique yet.
Me and Ivan did the what was that movie? Pinocchio though. And I had severe tooth pain during the
Bro,
entire
you were going through it.
What a
He was
chance.
fucking
That's a
dying,
good Pinocchio though. That's a good fucking movie.
That movie slapped.
The one by what's his name? Guillermo. What? I forget his name.
Guillermo del Toro.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Guillermo del Toro. Yeah, I have to check that out. I haven't watched it yet. Dang, I'm slacking, man.
It's so good, but you got to do it on revisionist Netflix.
Yes.
Well, you know what? I got kicked off my sister's subscription, so I
Commentating for free.
Look at you, mooching.
Oh,
I try signing in. They're like, "Oh, this account isn't linked to your household or some shit," and I was like, "What?"
yeah.
And like, I was like,
Son of a bitch.
I'm like, dang, it's because I am brown. I know it.
They privatized the people's streaming Netflix and they've kept it to one household. The fuckers.
Dang, they imagine that fucking these capitalists are privatizing fucking the internet and streaming and
it's-
shit.
It's been fully privatized by this point.
Yeah,
That's
for sure. Actually, yeah, definitely.
No doubt about that.
Pizza Gorbachev. Who's the guy
I
who
can't
liked
wait for
porn again?
DirecTV to come around and be like, it's gonna be $3 a month to have every channel ever and all the shows, and then like a month
I
later
can't
they're
wait
like,
to
it's
go
gonna be
back to
$3
cable.
billion a month. Like,
They just want you to sign up, and as soon as you sign up, they just reveal it to you. They're like, sorry. And then if you opt out, you always like a fat check.
they're like, it actually said in the terms and conditions that you owe us a foot if you ever unsubscribe. It's like Section 8, the OnlyFans.
Have you guys heard about Elon's
Conditions.
microchip thing? What's it called? What is it? It was called
Neuralink.
the Neuralink.
Yeah, where they were just slaughtering chimpanzees for fun.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, everything that used it like died.
Yeah, they were just frying the brains of chimpanzees.
Yeah, it's so sad.
It's
not even funny.
terrible.
Yeah, that's horrible.
Just for speculative private enterprise purposes, they're just frying the brains of chimpanzees.
I just don't understand. This is the bourgeois exists in a different mentality, because if there was a chimp and you gave me a button and you were like, if you press this button, this chimp's brain's gonna come out of his ears. I couldn't imagine doing that. Like,
Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure Elon's a fascist. He
yeah.
he made a post and he said that anyone who uses any like leftist gender like terminology will be like banned. So like if you call him like a cis male, he will ban you on Twitter.
cis has been banned from Twitter supposedly.
Yeah, it's a slur now.
Yeah, it's a slur.
Okay,
I said he
you
said it was
drop
a
hard
slur. Yeah.
N on Twitter, and it's okay.
Yeah, right. I see people people use hard ends and they'll be using like the F slur and like
They're gonna ban AIDS.
Yeah. Yeah, they'd be saying some pretty nasty stuff, and this guy gets mad over cis,
Wow.
over a social construct and shit. You know what I mean?
Which is, I mean, in all honesty, a lot of people, are scared of the sort of fascist path we're going down. We're just lucky right now that most of these people are just performative. They're not like the real fascists in like in Europe. Those people are severe and real. Like, but here they're mostly LARPers at this point. So, let's hope it stays that way, because
Imagine a bunch of Elon mites just running around
Mhm.
fucking with Teslas trying to.
To be fair, If I had a chip in my brain that made me think about Elon, I would probably want to die too.
I would disconnect from the server.
Yeah.
In Minecraft.
Of Minecraft. Stardew
Valley. Speaking of Stardew Valley, I'm sending another pic into the chat for y'all to look at. So these are all the musty ass, non-melanated people who went in the sub.
I saw that picture.
I'll have to go log into my Discord real quick.
Bro, this guy has the dogs out for free.
For those for the people listening, he shared with us the picture of the billionaires that were in the submarine.
God, what a bunch of dads, but not in a good way.
Dads. They imploded.
That's crazy.
They imploded.
They fucking kaboom. Do you think they saw it coming? Like, do you think that they were like, going down and then it made like a weird noise and then they were like, what was that? And then exploded, or they just exploded?
What I imagine happened is because the glass that they had for the viewport was only rated for 1,300 meters.
Yeah.
And the Titanic is 4,000 meters. Yep. So I imagine they hit a certain point and the glass probably cracked even slightly. They go, oh, and then just that's it.
Yeah, there wasn't much time.
Dark, so fucking funny.
After
they were pretty well liquefied pretty quick. So
yeah, if you've ever seen pictures of what happens to people that decompress like that,
it's like space, kind of,
Yeah.
Except more atmospheres of pressure instead of less.
Right.
That's all. If you ever seen Futurama, that's an old Futurama joke where they go underwater with the spaceship. They're like, how many atmospheres can this handle? And he's like, well, it's a spaceship. So I say 0 and 1.
Wow. That's, I don't know. We should
doesn't it end up with like they're getting smushed?
Yeah.
They look like the blobfish.
Getting flattened.
That poor fish.
We honestly, I'm, just because of those billionaires taking a fat L in the ocean, I'm probably gonna watch that episode all over again just to recapture the experience.
Yeah. As you should.
What episode is that?
I can't remember what episode it is specifically, but it's basically they try to go underwater to go find something for Bender, I think, like their robot.
I love Futurama. I think I remember that.
And they just like they keep going deeper and deeper to find it, and they end up just like getting smushed by the pressure.
I have to check that out. I haven't seen Futurama in forever. Honestly, Futurama is like one of the best adult cartoons. Family Guy sucks. Hot opinion. Family Guy is ass.
Oh my god, bro.
Family Guy does suck.
The world's most lukewarm take. Jeez.
Okay, well, I guess we all agree then.
All right. Beauty's out of the game. No. Yeah, Seth MacFarlane sucks. We talked about this before. He's a rapist. He thinks it's funny. Major L.
He thinks he's Frank Sinatra with his singing voice.
Like if he was in the submarine, that'd be all right.
Yeah.
Do you imagine like
end up on every YouTube top 10 moments, final pictures before disaster.
I don't even care if Seth MacFarlane hates Family Guy. It's the fact that he bred it and he never did anything to stop it. He created it in his fucking lab and I'm Brian Griffin and fuck him. Like I don't care.
This is
I feel like the beginning of the show isn't bad, but every season after maybe the third is just horrible, or it gets progressively worse.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It's just like Flanderization, to all hell.
That can stop at any time.
He really could, and if he wanted to really stop it, I mean, if he pulled what was it, the Buddhist monks in in Hanoi, when they did the self, explosion. If he did that in like the Family Guy studios in Minecraft, that'd be pretty lit. No, you know what? I take that back because now I sound like a Unabomber kind of like thing. So, never mind. I
don't remember where Ted was telling everybody to set themselves on fire in the Warner Brothers studios or whatever.
I think it's Fox.
But
Well, I mean,
knowing that crazy fuck, I wouldn't be surprised.
yeah. Well, I think he mentioned like that he despised like society and and humans and like
Yeah.
a lot of anarchists a lot of anarchists thinks he's like a good person like
Of course it is.
I'm not listening,
I met someone who was starting their journey, like politically, and on her person she had 2 books. One was the Communist Manifesto, and the other was the Unabomber's Manifesto.
No.
And I was just like, all right, you are on a dangerous crossroads. And I need you to make the right decision here.
Throw that book away. Honestly, I've never read it though. Has anybody here read it? Be honest. It's okay if you have.
Yeah, I did back in high school. It was it was
So what is it about? What does he talk about in there?
he rambles about he's basically like
he shits on most leftist movements.
Yeah, he shits on most leftists. He's anti-human. He's like he's just an eco-fascist. It's the eco-fascist manifesto.
Right, and anarchists were telling me they're like, when you call them an eco-fascist, that's CIA or like that's Western propaganda.
No, he straight up was an eco-fascist.
Yeah, and so I'm like, no. They're like, and then they always bring up Stalin and Lenin. They're like, well, you like Stalin.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. Always.
It's the Chad meme. Yes.
Yeah. No. Ted was a monster, and anybody who's celebrating him is, take yourself to the wall.
Didn't he just croak? Didn't he recently just croak in prison?
Yeah, he just died.
Yeah, because I saw a few like I had to unfollow some kitty on Twitter because yeah, I didn't want to see that shit. I was like, supporting ecofascism is cringe. I'm out, man.
For real.
Yeah.
They're like, oh well, you're just spewing America propaganda when you say that about him.
He wanted everything to go back to before technology.
Yeah.
He thought humans were a disease, a parasitic thing that needed to be wiped out, and for like everyone else is just like, if you're still around, go live alone in the woods until you die.
Right. Literal return to monkey. It's what the fuck.
Yeah, quite
return to monkey, but not.
Which is why I'm always like I always like question like leftists who want to like build a commune in the forest with like their little cult. Because like you're just abandoning the working class at that point. And
immediate red flag, and not in a good way.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, no, for real.
The off red flag.
Some hippie shit.
I can't fuck with that. And one of my major criticisms of anarchists and just in general that sphere of things is, as you guys know, like I mentioned earlier, I'm a nurse, but like my specialty is working with adults with special needs.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I do. That's my field, whatever. These people would not be alive if we did that. And
of our society is that we get to a position where we take care of people that otherwise would not survive.
Right, and that was the first sign of human civilization, was taking care of people who, in the animal kingdom would have been just left for dead. We are above that now. We take care of people because we, as human beings, have this innate, love for each other. That's why we do what we do. That's why we are Marxist Leninists. even if some of you motherfuckers are annoying as hell, it comes from a genuine place of love.
I'm right here. You don't have to say it like that.
And what the hell is it?
Ivan, I know I'm white, okay? I get it.
Right. I notice how it's the white people being mad about this. But no, what I was saying was basically like, none of us in this chat asked to be born, and neither did those people. And a lot of them, go through chronic illness or they need higher support needs to get through every day. And to just take away what they have because return to monkey is genocidal.
It's like I said in the chat the other night.
Return to monkey.
Ted K's and anarcho-primitivists in general, their program would put the Yanks, the Brits, the Germans, all of their genocides to shame. It's insane, that ideology.
Yeah.
I can't even call it an ideology. It's a fever dream.
It is a fever dream, really.
It goes into a little bit like that argument of human nature being destructive and that kind of stuff. And it made me think just now of, I saw a video on like an TikTok account where they had found bones of like a family. And one of the skeletons had showed evidence of like they probably had a disability. Right. Yes. And wouldn't have been able to move. But they looked at the teeth, and the teeth had a lot of cavities in it, like way more cavities than anyone should have had during that stage of human existence. And what they found is that the rest of the family likely was giving them dates. Just feeding and feeding this sweet thing to them, giving them cavities, and which likely would have been like, hey, we love you,
right?
Eat this, and we want you to be happy. And that's the real human nature, and we've had that wired in us since we left monkey.
Exactly. and I love that, because I took a lot of anthropology courses. It was I sort of diverted. I was either going to go history or anthropology, and I chose history. But with the anthropology, it goes even before Homo sapiens. We have other humanoid species like Neanderthals and etc., where they have evidence of like massive, horrible injuries that would have killed them, but they healed. And just the primates as a species are collective by nature.
Yeah,
it's just once you go far back enough, wherever we split off from chimps, those types of animals that we are all collective in nature. That's like they talk about human nature. If human nature does exist, it's collective.
Yeah, and anything our study of Marxism is the study of how we went from that to where we are now, and how we take what we have now and implement those ideals.
Dialectical and historical material.
Yeah.
That's it.
All right. I think that's a pretty fire way to end this, guys.
That did seem like a good ending right there.
I think so. I've got good feelings. It's good to end on good feelings.
Yes. Before
Always.
we return to our bourgeois bullshit jobs. But
exactly.
I think this went super well for number one.
Yeah.
Right.
I was going for like 90% of it, but
Hey, we almost had 10,000 likes.